Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Wow, kulikayo nnyo mukuumalamu kwe tubadde mu programu ekyali ya Mighty Drive nze omumbeja luwederidian ndine munnamateeka kato tumusiime ssaawa yaffe esoose tugiwunzise naye nga bwe twogerera tuli mu ssaawa ey'okubiri era ku ssaawa 3 kwakayitako eddakiika nnya zokka tugenda kubanga ate tweyongerayo n'okulaba nti mukulu ayongera okuttaanya weewaawo ku mulamwa gwaffe ogw'olunaku olwaleero tutunulira electoral reforms oba oliawo eziri mu kuleetebwa oba ezaagala okuleetebwa oba zibaagala okuleeta. Minister wa Justice and Constitutional Affairs omukulu Norbert Mao yavaayo weewaawo n'agenda amaaso n'okuba nga atutangazaamu ensonga y'okuba nti bateekawo amateeka oba oliawo amakakali ageetaaga okugobererwa mu biseera nga bino ebyokulonda okuba nti munnange enkola eya digital ate tugiembracinga. Weewaawo ne president yali yakyogerako ko sabbiiti ewedde mulundi oguyise bwe baali ate nga bajjukira omugenzi General Ronda Nyakayirima munnange nga agamba nti ensonga eno ey'okugenda digital at least ejja kuyambako nnyo nti system awo eba ekolera ddala naye nga tutunuulira okuba nti enkola eno eyinza okukyusa mu process ey'ebyokulonda nga bwebadde ensonga y'amagye mu Kalulu enokolwayo nnyo oba oliawo nti bano tebeetaagibwa mu process eya Kalulu ensonga ya funding okufuna funding okuva emitala w'amayanja n'ebirala bingi nnyo oba oliawo bye yakoonako naye ng'ate ye omukulu Masias Mpuuga naye yagenda maaso n'okuba nga atebolinga reforms oba oliawo zagamba nti zeetaaga okuba nga nazo ziteekebwa ate mu nkola okulaba nti ensonga y'ebyokulonda ate nayo ebeera nga etambula bulungi era nga ngenda kubanga nze kuyitiramukko katono naawe osobole okuba nga ozitegeera ng'agamba restore and entrench presidential term limits, presidential candidate to have a running mate who shall be the deputy president, introduce a second tier of parliament with 39 MPs from the original 39 districts of Uganda, and the deputy president shall be its head, reduce the size of parliament to 292 MPs, allow ordinary voters to challenge in court the presidential election results, era nga n'ensonga endala gye yatebolinga yali presidential election results for each district be declared at the district before their transmission to the National Tally Center. Ensonga y'omusanvu yali allow prisoners and Ugandans in the diaspora to vote. Zino nno boli awamba tunulira nti tulinga abali mu koppa bannaffe ab'eggwanga erya Kenya obimu ku bino oba muzimu ku zino electoral reforms omukulu ze yali aleese. Then oluvannyuma tujja kuonako oba oliawo ne ku nsonga ya Honorable Richard Lumu. Njagala tutandikira awo nga ggwe munnamateeka. What do you make of all these electoral reforms? Tutandikire ku za Honorable Norbert Mao.
Yes, thank you. Now, I don't know why we are a sleeping country.
Really?
Yes, we are a sleeping country. You see, from the time we finish elections, and from the time the new president or the new leaders take oath of office,
yes,
we have 4 years to go into the next election. Do you get?
Yeah.
Finish elections in 2021, remember. This is 2024.
What petitions are? Yeah.
Never mind, never withdraw, but that's not an issue. But in different cases,
yes,
the presidential election petitions that we have had in this country, the Supreme Court has always made it clear on which reforms we need as a country, and those are electoral reforms. Tandika bili mukaga, bili kumina mukaga,
bili kumina mukaga in 2021.
Yes, we have had so many so many declarations made by the Supreme Court on which amendments and which reforms should be introduced by the Parliament. You get? None of them have been ever. No one has even ever given it a try to at least say, kale katugoberese kote nkuru kyaragira mwaka guno, so that we can table it and discuss it.
Okay.
All these people, this is not the first time actually they are going to table the amendments in the election processes and the laws. No, it's not the first time. Because usually they tend to bring it at the last time, the last hour. You get? And when it's brought before Parliament, Parliament will give excuses. You see, the term is ending. We cannot have all this time to discuss all that new proposals in the amendments.
Yes.
Let us defer it to the next term. The next term will begin. They run for their 4 years. Then in the final 4th year, that's when they will start to table these new reforms and amendments. That's why I'm saying we are a sleeping country. And no one is actually bothered to even question, including the minister himself, that Mao. I believe that when Honorable Mao took office as a constitutional minister, justice and constitutional minister,
yes,
having been in opposition for a long time, having been a party to the elections as a presidential candidate, having been a victim of all those different electoral processes, he would be the first person actually advocate for the amendments in the election processes and how they should be determined.
Okay.
But I guess when he got into power, he got too comfortable and forgot all those problems. Now,
nanti kati beyali badde ayamba okubeerera eddoboozi ate bennyini biba mu Rwanda.
2024, we are only left with 2 months actually to end the year. I have seen NRM put out its roadmap, and actually nominations and campaigns will start, I think, next month, November. Do we still have time to discuss all these electoral reforms? You understand?
Yeah. Era yagamba yazitebolinga mu cabinet.
Yazitebolinga, but when did he table them? Do we have that time to make all these reforms, to make the amendments, have them passed, have them assented to, have them being practiced by electoral commission before we reach into the next election? Let us be realistic with ourselves. Let us be realistic with ourselves. In these 2 months that are remaining before we start the electioneering process and time, do we have time to have all these reforms and amendments tabled before Parliament for discussions? No. The answer is no.
So bino byonna kigumaza.
Just bali awo banoonya, they are doing PR, public relations, and also to make the citizens know that at least they are doing something about it.
These are things he promised Uganda. Naga nti ngenda bwe ntuuka eri bye bimu ku bye ngenda okubanga mbakolirako.
Amaze emyaka emeka. And this is when he has now realized that, oh, did we need the electoral reforms? You get? And you can see that it is even a gamble. It is a gamble.
These are things, electoral reforms is regulating freedom of speech at the assembly, addressing the conduct of campaigns and public events, introducing stricter measures against public servants engaging in political activities, and limiting military involvement in elections.
Yes.
This is aimed at improving transparency and fairness in Uganda's electoral system.
They are good proposals, Vivian. That
yes.
one is of no doubt. Because now, why should we have the military and the armed forces involved in politics in the first place? Yes, we believe they are citizens of this country.
Yes.
And they have a right to vote like me and you. But its involvement now should not be on supporting one side and not the other, and openly, and maybe destabilizing the peace of the rest that are also doing their campaigns. Democracy states that, you see, it is a vote of the majority against the minority. But even when we are the minority group, we also have our rights and we should be heard. You understand my point?
Okay.
That the involvement of the army will come with the support to the government officials, the people that are already in power.
Okay.
That is the NRM. Because mostly that's when their campaigns will be guarded. They will be given all that security. They will even do campaigns past the time limit. which is always stipulated by electoral commission, and nobody will be bothered. But let it come to opposition. On the opposition rallies, that's when you will see the beatings of the people, the arrests that are a bit true and very ruthless, the torturing of the people that have actually come to listen to the message of a presidential candidate, because at the end of it all, this president, once elected, will be the president of all. Whether you are in opposition or in government, he will be our president. And for us to make clear decisions on who to support, we must be able to listen to their manifestos and what they are bringing onto us as a country, and what plans they have for us as citizens and the country itself. But when you deny us access to such a candidate and his campaign, his or her campaign, then you have denied us or limited us on opening our ideas and minds on what new things or what is so special in presidential candidate A and not in presidential candidate B. And you are only giving us an opportunity to be interested in one party, one person and one party. You get? Okay. That's where democracy falls and dies from. But, well, if you are the army men, if you are the armed police officers, do your roles as stipulated by the Constitution. Guard the people, protect them with their goods. And that's where you were stopped from. But involvement in subduing the activities of a certain party or a presidential candidate now shouldn't be your role.
What does the law say about...
In fact, that one should be punishable under the law. Because ideally and realistically, by law, all these UPDF and the police shall be non-partisan. But where and when do they get involved in, you know, you also see them even on national TV saying, but you see, that's a government. But you must be non-partisan. You have no party. Whether this one is from opposition or this one is from government, your role is to protect them as citizens of this country, because that is your primary role.
Waliwo mwami wa NRM yangamba nti bonga ekibiina ekiri mu buyinza bwe baali bajja in 1986 basuubiza bannayuganda okubakuuma n'ebyabwe, so balaba ng'embeera yonna eneeva mu nteeko balina okuyingira
kati bayingiramu nga batwala sides okuyingiramu tetwandikiganye if their intentions are clear and it's for the good of the people. But why do they now have to side with one party against the other? In the last election, you saw so many army men of big rankings saying that, you see, the truth is we cannot hand over power to somebody that is not a military man. Recently, I have seen the CDF of this country also make his tweet about the same. That this country shall never have a president who is a
civilian.
He's a civilian. I don't know where these people get all this kind of courage to just be there somewhere and they think that that's a decision all this country should be taking. Because this country is governed by laws, and laws are clear. They are stipulated. The qualifications of a president are clear under the law.
Because bobanga ogogedde ogasaitinze weegali.
Weegali.
Tegateekeddwa mu nkola. Tugambe tegalina wegakoma, nti gakoma wano kubano tegakwatawo.
Anti kyekyo buli omu alina engeri gye yeeyisaamu wano mu ggwanga. Those in power think that they are above everything and nothing is that we can bar them from doing whatever they are doing. Ndowooza bwe bajja n'agamaanyi kwogera just bye baagala okwogera. Because they feel that is in their interest and that's where their target is. But my whole point is, I think we need to run a culture and maybe have these laws enforced on everybody equally, as the law suggests that we are all equal under and before the law. But the reality is that some people maybe tend to be better than the rest. And that's where they get the courage to speak all that they want to speak, aimlessly and without fear or favor of whatever will happen, because they know they are the ones in charge of this country. But the reality should be that even when you are a CDF of this country, you're bound by the laws of this country. Okay? You only hold the title as a CDF and maybe you head and command the armed forces, the UPDF, but that one doesn't stop you from being a Ugandan and from being liable under the laws. You get? I think you saw one of the lawyers take him to court for the baseless statements that he makes and all that. Now, the biggest point that I'm trying to make is that all these people that are trying to bring these electoral reforms and amendments in the law are just looking for sympathy from the rest of the people. They are using it as an electioneering slogan and term. Tubavere yo campaign zagenda gamba bantu. You see, I even brought and introduced an amendment in the electoral process, but because Parliament had no time, they did not discuss it. But that was my idea. That was my agenda. You get? Ntinawe ili yanibovere yo kuraye no uliro muntu nga byari yagezako kuleta Muteeka nga byari bigezako kulungamya Kalulu kabereka bwenkanya kabereka bwerufu naye Parliament nemulemesa. Then you will sympathize with them and give them your vote. Most of these people banonya byabwe tikolera ffe ng'abana Uganda.
Honorable Mathias Mpuuga yagamba nti ye tajja kukkiriza muntu mulala kumutegeerera wabula yajja kwetegeerera y'ensonga lwaki yatudde na proposing electoral reforms.
Honorable Mpuuga has been in Parliament for I think about 15 years now. You get? Honorable Mpuuga is a lawyer.
Yes.
Honorable Mpuuga, I believe that he has had an opportunity to read all these presidential election petitions to see the recommendations made by court. For the years he has spent in Parliament, is this the right time that he has decided that, oh, surely we need electoral reform? I wouldn't want to discuss individuals, but well, that's how it is.
But
is this the right time that he has?
He felt like Uganda
that he has decided that, you see, in my 15 years in Parliament as a member of Parliament, holding all those important and better positions, but at this time when we have seen the DP Brock saying now we shall front you as a presidential candidate, is this when he has now decided and said no, our electoral reforms are very bad, so that we need amendments so that we can make them
anti yagambe bijja kujja ekyo kijja kujja secondary ekikulu kye kino okutereeza mu byokulonda oba amateeka mu byokulonda ne bw'anaabanga bamusimbyewo na candidate nga zinga ebintu biteredde
because that one came
presidential term limits zikomyewo.
Honorable Mpuuga participated in a parliamentary sitting that amended the constitution and removed the term limit. I think he was there by then. You get?
Yeah.
Honorable Mpuuga participated in a parliamentary sitting that amended the constitution to remove the age limit. So what is the purpose now of him introducing the same? Will it cure the problems it had come to cure? Okay, in their thinking as parliament, was removing of term limits a problem to this country? If the answer is yes, why did they still go ahead and participate in removing the term limits?
Nandi kati bebatono. Bebatono.
But you see, all these provisions and declarations
because
that
the eyes have it all. Abatagambye I. Oba bali kulunda Kalulu wabula
bebatono katukirize and that's factual. Bali baba kubisa numbers, they have the majority. Now, how will Honorable Mpuuga convince the other majority to also support him on this? Because they don't have the numbers. Still, if the NRM doesn't believe in what you are bringing and tabling before it, then it will not pass as a law. You get? Same for the laws that are in the best interest of the government and the NRM itself. But the rest is just useless and time wasting. Nenga bwenkugambye bana abantu bonna by November this year NRM bagenda bali mu constituency banoonya Kalulu koma umpala
akakamyufu
by 2025 around May ne parliament ojja bango ogirawa ku mawulire nga nkalu buli omu ali ku ground anoonya ki wakoma omukalo. Who will have that time to discuss this? Because the process of making laws, the process of amendment of laws, the process of introducing new laws and bills in this country is managed and prescribed under the law. So it's a process. You cannot come and jump and throw it on parliamentary members and then they say, yes, I, and then the eyes have it. No, it's a process and it takes time. That's why I'm saying that whoever is bringing all these new amendments, they're just politicking around them. They're just politicking and they don't have any good intentions to this country. Because if their intentions were good, then they would have brought all these amendments and reforms in 2022. Okay, if they were to be read in 2022, that's when they were fresh. They had no pressures from the constituents. They had no pressures from the fellow candidates that are interested in taking their seats as members of parliament. They were very comfortable in their sittings and parliament. That was the prime time for them to introduce these new reforms.
But anyway, single mukisa gujja ne ziba nti zino reforms eziyise muli reduce the size of parliament, allow voters to challenge in court the presidential election results, presidential candidates to have a runmate who shall be the deputy presidents, prisoners and Ugandans in the diaspora and nabo balonze. Don't you think...
Have you heard anyone talk about actually amending the same constitutional provision of recalling a member of parliament? Isn't it part of the electoral reforms that we need as a country? Ngomuntu.
Yeah.
Ombaka taina byakoze.
Omulaba nga abulamu.
Nga bikunyiza obanga tatukiriza ekyamutwaza mu parliament. Ngo buliro yagala bamujje bateke omulala. Do you know that provision everybody has kept silent about it? Even in the reforms that they are introducing. That's why I'm saying that whatever they are doing is just for their personal sake, personal interest, and they should actually not be even given any opportunity to be entertained too. Kuba barudde mu parliament. Babimanye byokkola. Tigamba nti ebyo birowoozo babifunye yesterday or the other day or the other month. No. Biruddewo babiina. Even tebandi baddenga babiina. But at least they have read the recommendations made by the Supreme Court. Yes. They would actually go and get a ruling or a judgment that was delivered and copy all the recommendations, table them before Parliament and have them passed. We shall have solved a lot of problems. Mwezo gundi electoral reforms Zebaleeta. You remember last year, I think we started in 2016 when we used the biometric systems to verify the voters. And we had a lot of mess in 2016 and 2021, where some of these people did not know how to use these biometric machines, where some of the biometric machines at some point failed and then the people had to opt to use the manual registers. All those problems, have we looked at them? Did we have to wait for 2025 when we are getting into a new election process so that we can be able to talk about them? Has anybody thought about introducing new terms, maybe new technology, new use or the law that governs the biometric system of verifying the voters? Have anyone talked about it? Is it not a challenge to us as people? It is a very big challenge. But everybody has ignored. But buli omwana onye chimuisaawo ng'omuntu. You wait the next... as we start the campaign, those are the manifestos. You see, as we are ending our term, I had introduced the review of the electoral processes. I had proposed the amendments, and these were the amendments that I had proposed. Naye kati munzizeyo so that I can be able to achieve all this that I had promised to achieve. Because Parliament did not give me time at that stage to be able to pass my recommendations and reforms into law. You get? That's why I'm saying that buli omwana onya kuyisaawo kiki, and that's the reality.
Tudde ku Honorable Richard Lumu. Oba oli awo ne nnongoseleza zayagala okuleeta mu ngeri Parliament gyeddukanyizibwamu, and how everyone is looking at it. Oba oli awo kuba nti afunye oba akutte ekyokubiri mu kulonda kwa president. At least ajanga ex official, ensonga y'okulonda lead of opposition. Byonna obiwulidde oba oli awo nga gwe munnamateeka. Omuntu yeeraliikirira ki bwe kiba nti n'abali ku ludda oluwabula gavumenti nabo balemeddwa okuba nga bakkiririza mu munnaabwe kyaleese kyalaba nti kirungi okubasavinga?
Honorable Lumu teyakajja mu parliament kati. Kige? And it's unfortunate that his party has not got an opportunity to be the biggest opposition political party. There was at some point. But I have had an opportunity to read his amendment. and what he's suggesting, voting
Yes.
the leader of opposition. Now, the law itself, the one that is in place, actually provides for the election, that the leader of opposition shall be elected. But now, the law is not clear on now who are the people that are supposed to elect this person. But it has been the practice. We call it under the law the precedents that have been happening. How has it been done in the past? So we
nti ekibiina kirina ababaka abangi
kituula ne kigamba ono yagenda otukulembera, and that's the leader of opposition. Like the government sits there and selects the government chief whip, selects the prime minister, the leader of government business, and all the rest. And nobody has ever questioned that. You get? Now, if Lumu, Honorable, says that now we need to be voting, the members of opposition need to be voting for the leader of opposition. There are questions now that are surrounding that. Who are the people that are eligible voters? Kale katugambe, they are all opposition MPs.
Yes.
They will be eligible voters. Where will that election be held or conducted from? Ani agenda obatuza so that they be able to vote and elect a leader of opposition. 3. Who are the people that qualify to be leaders of opposition? Because the law says that the party, the biggest opposition party that has the largest number of MPs.
baleete ba candidates basatu bakubweko akalulu oba oli bawulire manifesto yaabwe kiki bagenda okukolera
Bagenda kutuulawa okulonda leader of opposition. First, that's 1. 2. Ani agenda okubeera chairman wa electoral commission oba akakiiko akakulira okulonda leader of opposition. Ekyokusatu. Ekyokusatu. It would be Honorable Lumu, the things he wants to be done on the leader of opposition, shall they also apply to the government chief whip and
that's
the leader
the
of
prime
government?
minister
Shall we lift the same so that they can be applicable to the other side? And where the his proposal does not also attack that, then it is useless.
nti kiri kiri ekibiina kimu bano baakiikirira bangi era ng'abamu bakubabaka baali complaining especially ku kutuula kw'eggulu nga bagamba nti bo nga bo balina okusakira abantu baabwe bakiikirira leader of opposition talina kubasalirawo ku kiki bateekeddwa kubanga bakola.
So is that the reason as to why they want to elect the leader of opposition?
Oboolyawo they feel like ono abakulembera bonna regardless of the political party they come from naye ng'ate ensonga za fronting oboolyawo za kibiina kye ze kimugamba neta fronting nsonga nga bwe zirina kubeera okuva mu bano bonna bakulembera.
Leader of opposition participates in selecting or nominating or appointing, whichever word can be applicable there, mukulonda shadow cabinet.
Yes.
Mukulonda abakulira obukiiko obwenjawulo. It means if you subject the leader of opposition to voting by the members of the opposition political parties, then even the cabinet ministers should be voted for on the shadow cabinet.
Era mu kiteeso kyayagala kuba nti ba shadow cabinet eri vetted nayo.
Then it means that even the chairman or chairpersons of these different committees that are headed by the opposition should be elected. But the question is now, how will that election be? Is it by lining? Is it by ballot? Separate ballot? Is it by raising of hands? How shall that election be conducted? And who shall preside over this election? In election processes, we have always had differing views. Even on the results as they announced, you will see the other party complaining that there has been vote rigging, that there has been intimidation and all that. In case we get challenges of the same, a candidate that is not voted as a leader of opposition has issues with the process of the election itself. Where shall the recourse be? Agenda kuddukirawa okuyambibwa bw'aba alowooza nti akalulu ke tekatambudde mu mateeka. All those things are just not being highlighted. Nti mutudde ne mulonda leader of opposition as all the other political parties.
Yes.
Okitegeera? Does that mean that he will not pay allegiance to his political party? Because his political party will have participated in bringing him as a member of parliament. Okay? And they have a say on him. as its
bw'anaabanga azze ng'asomye manifesto ye nti nze ku bukulembeze bwange nga leader of opposition I will be able to do A, B, C, D.
naye emirimu gya leader of opposition amateeka gagirambika bulungi. Kati ye Lumu ayagala kuleeta gage oba leader of opposition aliwo alemeddwa okutuukiriza byalina okukola mu mateeka. Bw'aba alemeddwa then they should know what to do for him. Bamukubeko akalulu bamuggyemu obwesige bamusuule eri because they will have reasons as to why they think that he has failed because he has not delivered what the law prescribed that he must deliver as a leader of opposition. You get?
Leader of opposition aliko actually agambe na direct attack jibakola eri ye ng'omuntu.
Yeah, and to the opposition to destabilize opposition itself because you must give the political party that has worked to raise the majority number of MPs to also have benefits. It's on its own. You get? Because there are reasons as to why different political parties choose different people to be the leaders of opposition. There are reasons that I may not know as an individual, but I believe that there are reasons. Maybe they consider their contribution to the party, maybe they consider their participation, and maybe they consider their allegiance to the political party itself. That since the leader of opposition runs a bigger budget, then he can be able to help the political party to also traverse the country and do its mobilization, and maybe he can use part of his budget also run some activities of the political party. Those would be there. But now, if we subject this now to elections, okay, we shall have the interference of the ruling party because it will need a leader of opposition that will not question its activities and what programs like the originally how it would have been. We shall have the involvement of political party NRM fronting candidates also in the opposition so that they can be able to be nominated, and who will do this nomination of the leader of opposition and say we have nominated 3 people. Is it the party? Okay. And if the party also nominates the people that it believes should be one to be the leader of opposition, will it still change the problem? Because if the political party, for example, NUP, is still interested in having Honorable Joel Senyonyi as the leader of opposition, it means it will select its cream, the cream, the people that they feel are going to deliver and make a biggest achievement in their roles as the leader of opposition. Ejakudamu nererete Honorable Joel Senyonyi emugate komulala. At the end of it all, you end up still electing a person of their choice as a political party because it's the one that will nominate. DP, with your candidates, you will not be able to nominate a candidate from your political party. JM will not nominate Honorable Babasari as a single member of the party to be the leader of opposition. Okay. It means that the same will be given to NUP, for example, if it still has the biggest majority of the MPs, to select choices. Now, how is that different from sitting there in Kamocha and saying that Honorable Joel Senyonyi, you are now the new leader of opposition, representing the political party? All this is just politicking and wasting the taxpayers' money. And there is nothing new that it will have.
Tetulimo ku criticizing ateka lino nga tutunulidde bibi byokka ebiririmu nga tulemeddwa okutunulira the good side of it.
Which good side? Because if it had the good side, we would have talked about it.
Ekibiina kiproducinga ababaka ab'omuzinzi oba oli awo okwesimbawo okulondako asaanidde.
You see, Honorable Lumu should work hard maybe and support his political party so that it can also get the majority voters, majority MPs in parliament, so that maybe can have an opportunity of being selected as a leader of opposition. But less than that, this new law will not even help Lumu himself as an individual, as a member of parliament. Do we have answers for them? The answer is no. So what is the purpose of that law? You see, Lillian, amendments of laws are governed by principles. Yes. And among the principles that we have, you have to look at a problem or a lacuna that is involved, that the existing law does not solve or cure. You get? If you identify that problem and a lacuna that is existing. Now you suggesting the amendments suggestions that will now cure this problem that is not cured by the existing law. Now, when NUP sits and selects or appoints Honorable Senyonyi as the leader of opposition, which problem does it leave to Lumu as an individual, as an honorable member of parliament? That he thinks that the existing law does not solve that problem and it can only be solved by introducing an amendment. Do we have that problem?
The existing law body out of leader of opposition or muzinzi. Go back to Bidam. Because wabanga leader of opposition wabanga akole emirimu jenga ajikola okusinzira ku kibiina kye kimugambe naye ng'ate wano akulembera babaka banne abali ku ludda olwabula government mu parliament ng'ate awuliriza bivaamu bo, then what does that mean? Tulaba nti twetaaga etteeka nga lino.
But etteeka eryo nze nkubuuziza ekibuuzo, which problem do we have that is not solved by the existing law that requires an amendment? If a leader of opposition yes, it's true that he leads the rest of the opposition political parties. Like the leader of government leads the rest of his people. You get? Does the leader of government business consult each and every MP before he takes a decision? The answer is no. Do you think if the other MPs on opposition participate in the election of a leader of opposition, will he be consulting each and everybody? Because that's a formation that we believe in. That's why actually even the opposition has the shadow cabinet. That it sits in its shadow cabinet and makes prepositions. They come with the same position,
yes,
and it's tabled before the rest of the opposition members of parliament for discussions. Will this now change when the leader of opposition is elected by members of parliament? Do we still have to continue conducting elections even after the electioneering process has ended? Because from the general elections, we have to elect the speaker and the deputy speaker. So after that chaos itself, do we still need to add another case of an election of electing a leader of opposition? Does it really make sense? I think we have better issues to discuss about than even wasting time on Lumu and his bill.
Okay. So, as we finish the Honorable Lumu bill, is that the opposition just politicking this? Ngabalemeddwa okujjamu at least ekirungi ekyalibadde kivaamu nti mubimu obaolyawo ku byateesaako kuba nti akutte ekyokubiri at least mu parliament ajjayo nga ex officio nti ebirowoozo byo byonna byabadde nabyo tebisuulibwa busuulibwa Bali, ffenna amaaso tugatunuuliza kya leader of opposition.
Anti ensonga lwaki?
Actually mu byo mwalimu ensonga y'okuba nti abali ba independence at least nabo bafuna whip.
Atagenda ba whippinga ki? Independence, you know, by na choice to sit on any side where they want to their views to be fronted. But to say, you see, it is too childish of Lumu to say that the second presidential candidate should be part of parliament. It's very childish because I believe that a political party is not run on a one-man army who is the presidential candidate.
Yes.
I believe that the manifesto that the presidential candidate from a political party runs on is a manifesto built by a political party and its members. That manifesto, I think, it's not kept by only the presidential candidate, that it cannot be shared. That manifesto cannot be implemented by only the presidential candidate, but including his members of parliament and the rest of the leaders in their different capacities. You get? The issue now should be, it is always open for everybody to participate in an election on any position that he or she is interested in. You get? If you decide now to run as a presidential candidate, now why should you be forced to be a member of parliament? Was that in your interest from the word go? The answer is no. If the second presidential candidate believes that his efforts can be achieved by running as a member of parliament, let him run as a member of parliament. Him or her run as a member of parliament. But don't go and
The Alternative Dig Talk.
Hey Teddy, have you noticed how little attention science and health issues get in the media?
Totally, Edgar, yet science information is very important.
Yeah, for sure. That's why the Health Journalists Network is here.
How can they help?
They are a group of journalists dedicated to advancing public understanding of healthcare issues through impactful reporting on health and science.
Oh, really?
Yes, they meet up every month with scientists and researchers, policymakers, and activists at the science media cafes. They then relay what they discuss to the public.
Does that benefit us?
Oh yes, very much so. This helps with health and science literacy for a healthy Ugandan society.
Okay. I love getting informed about science and health issues. Health information makes all the difference between life and death. I'll look them up and engage them.
That's great. They are based all over the country.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, and they should be making real impact.
They are empowering health communities through journalism. Journalists can save
Because
lives.
they have a lot of regions.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
To plan for an election, because your boss is not involved in so many things. You get? And they had planned that we must have general population census in 2024. How do you fall short of even coming up with numbers, even when some people were not counted? You get? But the few that you also counted, you don't have their details. And the numbers are mismatching in and out. That was the best. That is the best result he can give us as a country, to resign and go home and look after his children and rear his goats and cattle, and that's the end of the story.
No, these errors, but
Because now in this country, I think everything is fake. Everything is fake. We started with fake degrees. You also heard about them. Now we have fake results from Ubos. We have always had fake drugs on market. Fake different products everywhere. Fake degrees. Like everything is now fake. Now what should we take as serious? What? Surely what? If you cannot come out with the numbers that were generated by the system.
Tudaka kiko k'ebyokulonda n'engeri nako gye kakolamu emirimu gyako. Saawa ya tuli mu kwetegekera Kalulu. Oba oli obatambulira ku roadmap, but there is a lot that Ugandans don't know. Twakava mu kulonda kwa 2021. Nga bannayuganda era bagamba, Electoral Commission negamba bingi bannayuganda bye batamanyi omubaka alondebwa atya era basinziira ku ki n'ebirala. Even right now we are still in the same thing nga tewali message yonna yonna bannayuganda gye bali mu kufuna about the election process. Even the roadmap itself yafulumizibwa, but abantu bangi nnyo tebamanyi.
That's true. You see, this country now is being run on a policy or a slogan of to whom it may concern. Bwamanyi, after all. You see, it is the core mandate of Electoral Commission to do civic education to the masses of the people.
Yes.
That is under the Constitution itself. But nayenze buchanga nzalibwa n'emyaka gye nina, I have not seen any representative of Electoral Commission come to sensitize us and give us that civic education. You see, that's why I think we have even so many people in Parliament but don't even know what they are supposed to do as members of Parliament. Because the masses are not sensitized on which qualities they should consider before sending somebody to Parliament as its representative. That's factual. That's why we have so many different people in different positions, elective positions, but they are not even aware of what they are supposed to be doing. Okay. Because Electoral Commission has failed on its mandate to do the voter education and sensitization, that is civic education. 2, it is the role of Electoral Commission to be teaching people how this voting also should be made. That's why we still have in the 21st century invalid votes. How? Who does that Who does that we must have invalid votes when you are there at Electoral Commission? Your role is to plan and process elections. That's your role. And this is run on a calendar that they normally put out on every day.
They've
on every
complained
year.
of little funds. Ezibalemesa okuba nga bakola emirimu gino.
But with the little that they are getting, what are they using it for? They have a budget, annual budget. Apart from the years that we are in elections, for example, 2026 that is coming, what are they doing now? What are they doing with that little budget now? Has it served the purpose so that we feel that there is a need that we add them an extra budget to run?
Bali mu kutambuza kati road map. Kulonda kwa bavubuka kunaatera.
You get? Before you even start complaining on the little numbers on the little budget that you are running as an institution, at least first make good use of that budget that you have as a person. You get? So that you say, we did voter education in region A, region B, region C. But because of the little funding that we have not been able to go to region D and E. You get?
Okay.
And the results from whatever you have been doing should be visible. You don't need 2 hours to explain to us as electoral commission what you have been doing as electoral commission. You don't need. The results should be visible from the face of it.
Okay.
You get? And then you say that because of the limited or the little budget that we are running on, that is where we have failed. But now we say that if you add us more money, we shall proceed to also do a voter education and civic empowerment to the rest of the regions. Nti nabari mukuteka tekere gwanga, they would see value for money. Because when they don't see value for money, then you are just wasting our taxpayers' money. And it's me and you will suffer. Okay?
Okay.
That we even have fallen short that the turn-up of the voters themselves is very low. Because the people don't even see the value of why they should be going to vote. Because you have failed, you have not educated them about what they are supposed to do.
Okay, as we conclude, okugoba abantu bano kitereeza obuweereza bannayuganda bwe balina okuba nga bafuna, because bwetunuulira KCCA iddiwaayo jjujjuzi bamugoba deputy we n'ow'ebyobulamu.
Anti ati, when somebody has failed to perform, I think the best should be holding them accountable for their inconsistencies and for their failure to deliver what they are supposed to do, to deliver their mandate. And 2, why should they still hold such kind of offices? It doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Because after all, you have failed to perform your duties as a member or as a head of a certain entity. So why should you stay there? First, you should be sacked. At least you get a reasonable person that will see from your mistakes and maybe have something new to deliver. You get? Okay. 2, it shouldn't be ending on only sacking you and going home. No. Should be held accountable of the fortunes that came within your tenure.
Okay.
And maybe that would be a very sounding lesson to the rest of the people that is occupying your seat. It will teach them a lesson that at the end of it all, you are serving in a capacity of an executive director, but the moment you mess up with all the system and what is happening, then you will be held personally liable for your fortunes. You get? It will also help us that we get people that are committed and interested in delivering their capacities in the different positions that they hold. Not for the sake of holding a title and being driven all over and sitting in your good office and enjoying the AC. No, that shouldn't be business as usual. Okay. Because you have failed to deliver and perform. Then you are charging because you have failed.
Sibula batulabye kanso.
Batulabye tweyanziza bwe bali nnyo tulaba. Zibadde ndowooza zange era ebintu nga bwe mbiraba. But to say that in every position that you hold, in every position that you hold, take it as a sensitive position. Okay. And it has so many effects on the rest of the public. And the way you perform your duties and services as an individual in the capacity you hold or office, it should reflect on how you would need to be also served by the rest of the people holding different positions. We should be learning from each other. And see you some other time, and God bless you.
Mwe bannamateeka nga tulaba musirise nnyo ku tweets eza General Muhoozi.
Tetusirise.
Okay. Thank you so much, Council Katoto Msime. I think you're going to close this start. This, idambe bazonyo mwenda ba comments, aba sharing to all of you that have been watching, mo complaining ganyo ku nsonga ya internet. But masawu, tujja kola kulaba nti ensonga eno nayo ekolwako. Ze mubejali dedicated to the team that I've worked with on camera, mchala Tenjo Nabukeda, mu control room omukulu mukose Arnold Anthony, tusinkanirira akawungezi ku sawa emu ku voltage temusubwa.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.